First of all, welcome to the new batch for MCS, DM, and other MD students. As you have just heard from Dr. Priti, that this is a beautiful campus. I'm sure by the time you settle down, it will take time, but very soon you'll find it is quite enjoyable to live in this campus. And I must really give you all credit that you have passed such bad times, and you must have faced a lot of difficulty to reach here, and formalities and all those things compulsory for the COVID. You have gone through that. Nonetheless, these are all part of the life, and we're all facing that, and hope that 2021 will have better time for us to carry on. I just want to all of you to know about this course. This is very unique for our institute. We must give credit to our forefathers who have really designed this course, Professor Naik and a few of them there, and their legacy is being now carried over by Dr. Amita, Dr. Priti, and a few of their colleagues. And this is very unique. It is not very easy to organize. It's quite difficult in the sense time consuming, a lot of sincerities has to be there, and a lot of volunteers has to come forward, mobilizing this like-minded people, faculty to over the course. Thank you.
I'll take that. आप वहाँ से join करोगे? Okay. Yeah. We will have Professor Amita Agrawal, who's actually in charge of the 01 courses, give you an overview of what these courses are and what you're supposed to do. So, Amita, I would request all others to mute themselves. And I'm sure in my email I have sent information about what you have to do in the 01 course, this foundation course. Once Amita finishes, I will give you what all is required from you to get credits for this course.
So, good morning, friends. Rather, good afternoon, friends. And I see about 60 people have already joined in. And we were supposed to have actually around 89 people. And what I would say to you people is that 0102 courses, you may find this name very odd because you have never probably in any of your colleges would have heard something called a 0102. When this institution started, and this institution was built with a very different motto. 35 years ago, our forefathers thought that we should have an institution which should be built in the kind as National Institutes of Health in USS. So the three people who were the pillars of this institution went around the world looking for good faculty. And they brought back a lot of people from abroad as well as from India. And they made this institution in a format that we will have departments or centers, like you have a GI center, which will have GI surgery as well as medicine department together. And they would work together to look after problems of gastrointestinal tract. And they had the foresight of having departments like Department of Clinical Immunology, which never existed anywhere in the world, and or Department of Medical Genetics. So this institution has always thought ahead of time. And another thought they had was that most of the medical students never get exposure to areas which are on the fringes of medicine or are relatively never taught to our students. This is your mic on? So, okay. So Dr. Professor S.R. Naik, who was the first chair of Department of Gastroenterology, who came from KEM Hospital and was trained at PJ Chandigarh and other institutions. The can you please switch off your mics, all of you? Just tell him to switch. Because otherwise we are hearing a lot of noises. So what his purpose was, he PCH students or the medical students, and 02 courses were the courses which were meant for the PhD students. That is why this terminology of 01, 02 courses. And we also thought that there needs to be a dialogue between the basic science and clinical science. That's why the courses which are offered could be taken by both PhD students as well as clinicians. And thus the name 01-02 courses. So there is a synergy between clinicians and the basic scientists. And the purpose was to widen your horizon so that you can think little differently. And Dr. Nayak was the founder of all these courses. He unfortunately passed away at an early age. And after that, the mantle was taken by Professor Gaur Chaudhary, who was also from the same department. And he ran these courses for about 5 years. Following his leaving the institution, then Professor Rakesh Pandey, who was a pathologist but had a keen interest in medical education, looked after them and nurtured them for the next 5 to 7 years. And after his superannuation, for the last 3 months, I am looking at coordinating these courses. So we have a credit-based system. The 12 hours of teaching is equivalent to 1 credit. All students are supposed to do at least minimum of 8 credits. You can do as many as you want, but the minimum is 8. There are 4 points which come from mandatory courses and 4 which come from optional courses. The mandatory courses are basically 2. That is biostatistics, where you learn how to collect good quality data, how to analyze the data, how to present the data both in the conferences as well as in the journals. The second is this foundation course. The foundation course was not there when we started the institution. This was started about 10 years later because we were finding that we are getting students from different parts of the country with different skills, and some of them have never seen how to do a PubMed search, how to present an article better. So very simple things. So we felt that maybe in the beginning, if we give a 12 to 24-hour course for them, where we discuss simple things with them and give them some idea that what is the ethos of this institution and what is expected out of them, it may go a long way in improving their training. Over the years, we've also made some changes in the foundation course, and we have tried to move with time, like problems of patient communication, which are causing problems in consumer forum and others. So that's why we have included those topics also now in foundation course, and we hope to keep improvising as the time goes by. And since the number of PhD students have increased, so now what we do is that the first 12 hours are common between the medical people and the PhD students, while the next week is separated out. The medical students learn data keeping, how to make a good death certificate, how to look at clinical records and those issues, while the people from basic science learn basic lab techniques, which are needed for them in their research work. So we have a cafeteria approach for optional courses. You can choose the course which interests you and which suits your timing and suits the timing of your colleagues in the department so that you can be spared for that much time. And these are the courses which are planned for the PhD students in the coming 4.5 months. And I would urge that actually PhD students should attend all of them, because all of them, different courses touch different aspects of cell biology, research methodology, and upcoming technologies. So it will be useful for all of you. Similarly, for medical graduates, we have courses which vary from very mundane things like fluid and electrolyte to role of diet and how to give good nutritious diet and calculate calories for your patients, to how to take good photographs. So you will see that they really touch a very wide spectrum of subjects, from even artificial intelligence, IPR issues, like if you are an innovator, how to go about getting your patent. So we hope that you will find these courses useful. But there are rules of the game. It should not happen what is happening in the last 3 months. That students are coming, even just now before I came for this thing, there is an application from a cardiologist for joining the foundation course. So you need to apply in advance, not on the day of course, because we are also busy clinicians. We don't have time, and we don't get any extra leave or protected time or manpower to run these courses. You must attend all your classes because it helps you to learn properly. If you don't attend all and miss in between, you lose a thread. Similarly, for each class, it's a good idea to be on time, because every lecture builds up slowly. And if you enter late, you are going to miss the base of the lecture. And then you are lost. Then you are physically present, but mentally not there. And a person who's actually attentive will always have 100 questions in his or her mind. Always ask questions. There is no question which is stupid or which is bad. All questions are good. And if we can clear the doubt at this time, it's better to clear it now rather than have those cobwebs in our mind. And as is true for any activity, assessment is part of activity. So as Dr. Preeti has told you, that for this course, we have a set of exercises which you need to submit, and don't take them as burden. They are supposed to help you learn the things, because unless we practice, the knowledge doesn't last. So we need to do these things. And lastly, always enjoy learning. Don't take it as a burden. Some of the students feel that these courses are real burden. But when they leave the institution and go to other places, that is the time they start writing us emails that how useful these courses are. So I can tell you, most of our alumni find that these courses really help them improve as a person, improved their presentations, and groom them to become a holistic individual. So I hope that you will take these courses seriously and enjoy them. And if you have any questions regarding the courses, please do not disturb in the office and the outpatient clinic or in the ward. You can always write an email. All of you must have got an email from 01 Courses, email ID. Please send all your queries on that email. And similarly, when you want to submit your application, please just leave them in the office. And what we are planning in the future is that we are in the process of making a website which will have your courses which you have already cleared, so that you can look up yourself that how many credit points I have already accrued, which courses I have not attended, rather than calling me at 9 o'clock in the night and thinking that I have all the database in my brain and can give you information in 2 minutes. So we all need to work together and make these courses productive. And you will see, as Dr. Mishra said, our campus is actually a 400-acre campus. It's lush green, it's beautiful, there is no pollution, Neither is there a noise pollution or there is air pollution. So enjoy it, go for a walk. That makes your mind fresh and makes you interested in learning. So thank you. If you have any questions regarding these courses, you are most welcome to ask. So any questions? When students don't ask question, it means either they are not listening or they are just only physically present and mentally not there. Any questions? No questions. So there is a person from cardiology who has just sent his mail. So if any of the cardiologists is in there, his name is Abhijit Bharti. So can you pass on that link to him? Because I had sent it, but his email ID is not correct. Okay, then if you have no questions, thanks a lot.
We will have 2 lectures which are on professional ethics. One is on professional ethics of a clinician and professional ethics as concerning research. So before we go on to those talks, there are a few things I would like to remind all of you. One is somebody 6393, please rename yourself. There will be 2 assessments on both the Saturdays of the course. It is mandatory for you to appear in those assessments. And if because of your COVID duty, you are unable to take part in the assessment, please let us know in advance on the email IDs which I have given you, so that we can let you take those assessments at a later date. Second, you have some assignments which you have to submit, and a word of caution, please don't submit after the deadline. There's no point in submitting because we won't even open those mails after you've sent us. Okay, and then there are 2 major assignments which you have to submit. One is on PubMed. Earlier, you could send a mail from PubMed directly where the PubMed would identify you. If it is not possible now, last time I came to know and realized that when you send directly from PubMed, your name doesn't come because you can't put in a heading or a subject now in the new PubMed. In the earlier version of PubMed, you could do it. So I would know that it is being sent from Ankit, Alistair, or whosoever is the student who's sending me. So what you need to do is you download that, email it to yourself, and then forward that mail to me with a subject. As I gave you an example myself, that if I have to submit an assignment for foundation course, I would put it as Preeti Dabadgaon, endocrinology. Since I am a faculty, I would put it as faculty endocrinology, but Alistair would put it up as MCH SGE because I'm sure you're doing surgical gastroenterology. Pavan Goyal would put it up as DM endocrinology. So I'm able to identify the student who or he or she is. So please put your name clearly with the course. Course means the degree as well as the subject, and then the name of the assignment, whether it is PubMed or it is patient information document. The second exercise is patient information document, or PID as we normally call it. All of you, when you would be doing your thesis or a research project as a part of your DMMCH program, you will have to submit an ethics application for your project, which includes a synopsis of your project, and it includes a patient information. When you're recruiting patients or controls, it would mean that you have to make a document which explains your project in layman's terms. And it has to be made in English and Hindi both, since Hindi is the spoken language here. If you're making it in Maharashtra, maybe you'll have to make it in Marathi as well, since the spoken language would be Marathi there. So both these documents, please do not send me consent forms. Consent form is different from a patient information document. All of you need to go to the institute website. On the website, there is an SOP from bioethics cell. It beautifully describes how you should make a patient information document. Please access that and send your correct assignment. Don't send me an consent form. Second thing, it's a pity that we are very poor in languages. We have become half English, half Hindi. What we speak is English, not English nor Hindi. So when you make a PID in Hindi, all of you are using the Google translator, where you just type in a sentence in English, it translates in Hindi, you just cut and paste. Please go back to your Hindi of class 6th, 7th and 8th. Sentence structure in English and Hindi are totally different. In English, I would say that I am going there. So their place of adverb would be at the end of the sentence. But in Hindi, you won't say मैं जा रही हूँ उधर, मैं उधर जा रही हूँ. So the place adverb changes. Please, when you have cut paste, you do cut paste, at least you're making an effort. But read those sentences. Are they making any sense? As you know, in English and Hindi both, one word may have different meanings and the way it is used, or two words meaning the same are used differently. As talk and speak, look and see, all these words mean the same, but there is a place to use talk and there is a place to use speak, or there's a place to use look and a place to use see. I request all of you, because all of you are post MBBS. None of you is 18 or younger than 18. All of you are 20 and above. And these are formal assignments and formal exercises. And if we don't correct you now, you would continue to make the same mistakes or be careless or callous later on in your lives. So whatever you may think, probably just use this as an exercise to do the things properly. And last but not the least, when you're sending mails to all of us, any one of us, for any course, not just this, later on also you may have to submit some assignments. It is never as, hi ma'am, please, there's no please, never in the mails there is any please. Open the link, attached. This is not a way to send a formal mail. You're sending an assignment to get credits. This is a kind of an exam for you, or an exercise where it is a formal mail. I'm sure you can just write, ma'am, dear ma'am, please find the assignment for PID attached, or something like that, whatever text you may use. But there is a way of writing a formal mail. Please do that. Just give me another 4-5 minutes. I will have to access those 2 talks and then we'll get back to you. Thank you.
So in the meanwhile, we are
जा रहे हैं। चलो इसको बंद कर सकते हैं क्या ऐसे ही? बंद तो नहीं है साला? हाँ चलो अरे दो पेशेंट है ना
Should we ask them that are they able to hear? काफी मुश्किल है। कब से भेजा हुआ है मैंने आकाश को इसलिए।
Network issues in new MRA2. अबे ये कौन है गुलाब?
Can one of you unmute and tell me whether you're able to hear properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any issues with any one of you?
Ma'am, we are
Not
able to
audible.
hear you, but not you.
Ma'am, it's audible.
Just one at a time, please. June, you were saying something?
Ma'am, I was saying you are audible, but sir wasn't.
Acha, because this is a recording actually. That's why I just wanted to know if the recording is not good and you are unable to hear, then I may have to call the faculty and have the lecture taken properly. So that is why I'm asking you that since Rohit was not available, we were running his recorded lecture. So can you hear or not hear?
No.
Ma'am, the voice quality isn't good, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I'll try to fix it, but just give me a couple of minutes, okay?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear now?
No.
No. Okay. So what we will do is, then, because these were, we thought that they were here, we can hear very well. If you can't hear, then we have to do something different. So just wait for 5 minutes. Until then, we can just have an interaction. You can put on your videos and introduce yourself. So then let's meet everybody. So just one by one, you can put on your videos and introduce yourself. Okay, Sajit Verma, can you just put on your video? Sajit, are you there? Sajit Verma, can you hear us?
Umesh?
Sorry for all this confusion which we are having today, because we have never had it in the past. So, can you introduce yourself, each one of you? Umesh Shah, can you unmute yourself?
Maybe we'll call out the names.
There are too many things happening.
Umesh?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Umesh, sir.
Yeah, switch on your video. Umesh, can you do that?
But Thomas, can you? Anandi Mishra, can you switch off your, mute your mic, please? Because if so many people keep it on, then we have this.
If the anesthesia people can introduce themselves one by one, starting from Dr. June. Can you hear me, Preeti? If you switch on, yeah, if you can switch on your videos, the anesthesia residents one by one, please.
These people are showing.
Or is there issue with your network as well? We can't see you, Preeti.
Ma'am, I have turned on my video.
You have? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Preeti. People who have their videos on first can introduce, so that at least we know who you are.
Yeah.
So Dr. Preeti, you are in which department?
Good afternoon, ma'am, and everyone. I'm in anesthesia department. I'm the JR1 right now.
Okay. You're from which college?
Ma'am, Grant Medical College, Mumbai.
Okay. So can we have the next Divya? You can switch. So if one can mute their mic after they've done, then we can have the next question. Dr. Anarbasu, can you switch off your, mute yourself? Or you can speak first and then mute yourself.
Anbu?
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Myself, Anbarasu. I am from Tamil Nadu. I did my UG from Government Medical College, Kanyakumari, and PG from Government Medical College, Amritsar. I am from Endocrinology Department, first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can mute yourself.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Dr. Rani Manisha?
She's in genetics.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm Dr. Rani Manisha. I did my UG from MGM Medical College, Jamshedpur, and I did my MD Pediatrics from RIMS Ranchi, and I'm first year resident in medical genetics.
Very good.
Welcome.
Welcome to SGPGI. Divya, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Divya, we can't hear you.
Are you on duty somewhere, Divya?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the OT right now.
Yeah,
You're
that's
OT.
why your signal is poor. You're from anesthesia?
Yes, ma'am. I'm JR1 in anesthesia.
Okay.
So you people will have to take off at this time because your department, normally we used to have physically these classes. So you have to tell your heads of the department that you have to be either in the seminar room or somewhere. If you're on working duty, you cannot run this attend because connectivity is never so good in the wards. And because many people put on their mics at the same time, because we haven't learned the culture online courses, like somebody else is still having their mic on. Ruchi, can you introduce yourself and then mute yourself?
Half of you are there or not there or just registered?
I don't know.
Huh?
So what do you think? Do you people want to have physical classes instead of these online?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So how you can raise your hands, how many people want physical classes? You know how to raise hands? It's not like this.
No.
In Zoom, in the Zoom there is, you go to reactions and there is
raise your hand.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
So you raise your hand so that we know how many want to have physical classes.
All of those who want to have physical classes, please go on the reaction one.
Reaction. Go to
at the
reaction.
bottom of your screen, Umesh, at the bottom of your screen, there is something called as reactions. Just click on it and then
select.
give a thumbs up, select or raise your hand, either of the two. So we know that people who want physical classes.
So we have only got 6, 7, 8 out of 77. So that means most people don't want, or maybe they are not there.
Or they are unable to, yeah, maybe they are not there. They have just registered and absent.
Because unless we take these courses seriously, they don't serve the purpose. So we are trying to do it online. But if you have challenge with online courses, we can even think of having them physically as we were having them earlier. But it's not difficult to have online also, but for that you need to have the frame of mind. You need to be in a place where the connectivity is good and you are free of your duty. Except people who are on COVID duty, rest of you should have been in a seminar room or somewhere where you are physically comfortable and there is good connectivity. Because if we have physical classes, then again you will have to come there, no? You will have to leave your duty there and somebody else has to look after that duty. So maybe we will write to your HODs that they have to give you off for these 2 hours. Because somebody is writing that I am in the ICU, somebody is writing that I am in some other place. So to do from there is impossible. It won't come out well. Because otherwise we have been running Zoom classes, they've come out very well for the department where we have about 30 people. So everybody can listen to them very carefully and clearly. And when we ran this course last time in December, it was fairly good. But probably all of you are new and you are still finding your way out. So it will take some time. We thought that's a good idea to know each other. That's why we thought that if all of you can introduce one by one. So Umesh, can you introduce yourself? You have to unmute yourself. So whenever you want to speak, please unmute yourself first and then speak. And there is a button at the bottom which has got a mic kind of a speaker made. So from there you unmute yourself. Dr. Umesh, try unmuting yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, now you.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Dr. Umesh, resident in DM endocrinology. I've done my MBBS LTMC Sign Hospital, Mumbai, and MD from BJGMC, Pune.
Welcome to our. Dr. Alistair, can you tell us from where you are? You can go.
I am from actually Bihar, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Alistair. Umesh, you can now become mute. You have to mute yourself. Yes, Alistair.
Yes, ma'am. I am Dr. Alistair, ma'am. I did my MBBS from KMC Mangalore and MS from BMC, Bangalore Medical College.
Okay. So which department are you in?
I am in surgical gastro department.
Surgical gastroenterology. So welcome. Dr. Varun? Yes, if you have a problem with the video, you can just tell us like that.
Ma'am, I am Dr. Varun. I have done my MBBS from Bangalore Medical College, ma'am.
Okay.
And MD from Bellary, ma'am. I am in currently DM Genetics, ma'am.
DM Genetics. Good. So are you a classmate of Alistair from Bangalore Medical College?
No, ma'am. I'm a UG from that college, ma'am. He must have done his PG.
Okay. Ruchi, can you tell us about yourself? Ruchi, can you unmute yourself and tell us? Or you're already unmuted? Yes. Can you tell us from which college are you, Ruchi? We can't hear you. Sorry, we are not able to hear Ruchi. Okay, Darpan, you can tell us till Ruchi sorts out her issues.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Dr. Darpan Thakre. I am from Maharashtra. I did my UG and PG both from SGPGI Medical Hospital, SGPGI Medical College and KM Hospital, Mumbai. I am currently JR1 in Department of Clinical Immunology and Rheumatology.
So you are not JR1. You have finished your MD. SR1. You are now
SR1.
You're a DL student or SR1, whatever you want to call yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Ankit? Even if you don't do anything today, even if we know each other, that will be a good thing.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Myself, Dr. Ankit Agarwal. I did my UG from People's Medical College, Bhopal, and MD from GR Medical College, Gwalior. Currently, I am a SR1 in Pediatric Gastrology Department.
So it's not gastrology, it's gastroenterology. Gastrology looks very, there's no word actually of gastrology.
Yes.
So we say gastroenterology. Welcome. It's a very nice branch.
Thank you.
Okay, Anamika, can you introduce yourself? So Anamika Shah, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Or we can have Kush. Okay, Anamika has unmuted herself. Yes.
Ma'am, my name is Anamika Shah. Did my MBBS from SN Medical College, Agra. Here I am JR1 in Nuclear Medicine Department.
Nuclear medicine. Okay, welcome, Anamika. Dr. Kush. Kush Parik. So you see, we have so much of national integration. We are seeing people from all over the place. Yes, Kush, you can, yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kush Parekh from Surgical Gastroenterology.
Yes. So where have you done your graduation and post-graduation?
MBBS and MS from KEM Hospital, Mumbai.
So both the things from KEM Mumbai. Your undergraduation and post-graduation both from KEM Mumbai? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, welcome. Dr.
Both from
Zivas?
KEM Mumbai.
Okay, very good. Dr. Zivas?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm JR3, Dr. Devas from Anesthesia Department.
Yes. So Divas, why have you not finished earlier? I thought I've seen you earlier. You are JR3.
Yes, ma'am, I'm JR3.
So we hope you will finish this time.
Yeah, because of some health reason, I was not able to complete this.
We hope hope you have a healthy life in future and do well. And we hope to see you during this course. Yes, Preetham, Dr. Preetham.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I am Preetham from Kolkata. I did my MBBS and MD from VHU. I am from gastromedicine.
So actually there's nothing called gastroenterology. It's gastroenterology. Medical gastroenterology. Actually, the department's name is Department of Gastroenterology, and the division is also gastroenterology. Okay. Ruchi, can you introduce yourself now? Have you been able to sort out your issues? Yes, Ruchi. Sorry, we are not able to hear you. You can put your details in the chat box, Ruchi, because we are not able to hear you at all. Dr. Anushree EV, Anushree EV.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm JR1 in anesthesia.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I did my MBBS from Government Medical College, Thrissur, Kerala.
Oh, great. Welcome to North. I hope you're not finding it too cold.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Mayank.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay. Yes, Mayank.
I did my MBBS from Government Medical College and MD from SWM Kanpur. And now I am currently working as senior resident in Department of Medical Gastroenterology.
Okay.
Thank you. You've joined at two places, Mayank. It shows Mayank sync is different from Mayank. Have you logged in at from two devices? Mayank? Unlikely to be the two Mayanks.
Let's check it out. So Dr. Rani, here introduce herself. Yeah, Jyoti, Dr. Jyoti Pal.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Dr. Jyoti, JR1 from anesthesiology.
Okay. Okay. So we'll have Dr. Shagun because we couldn't hear. So Dr. Shagun is going to give her talk just now. So we will have the rest of the introduction as we go by. Okay.
Yeah, Shagun, you share your screen. Okay.
And please, all of you, mute yourself so that we can listen to Shagun. Yes, Shagun, welcome. You can start.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Very well, very well.
Okay. So thank you, organizers. And in the next half an hour, my brief is to it actually is to give you some guiding principles on aspects of professional ethics. A lot of it you must have at least come by during your undergrad and postgrad training, and the reason to take such a class is to explicitly put forward some principles of professionalism and ethics. And as you negotiate your journey while pursuing your courses, you will be imbibing a lot of it from your supervisors and mentors here at Sanjay Gandhi PGI as well. So I'll just begin off with a statement. I went to a nearby country touring, and one of my friends went to a nearby country touring, and he unfortunately met with an accident. And he could not understand the language very well of the people over there. What he just prayed was that whoever treats him embodies professionalism and ethics. So this is how important these principles are. And what you might think is that professional ethics is something which is caught, and it cannot be taught. And when we are teaching you here in medical schools, universities, generally the medical student is taught the right treatment for the patient, which may or may not be the good treatment. It's a difference of words. So what's the difference between the right treatment and a good treatment? The difference between the right and the good is when you consideration the patient's values and preferences while deciding a treatment strategy for a patient, the right treatment gets converted into a good treatment. So why do we have to hold such kind of a lecture called as professional ethics? Because in the past, something called as professionalism and ethics was very passively diffused in the curriculum. So something called as a hidden curriculum, wherein they would learn from their supervisors. And what's in the hidden curriculum is the students learn a lot by watching their teachers, but it also leaves a lot to chance. And why there is a need to carry forward something like this is that as is evident from daily happenings, the hidden curriculum has somewhat, we felt, failed to impart these virtues into our medical graduates. The reason might be that this is a fast-paced world and there is a universal mutation in human values. The value systems have changed. And that's why the reason for such a lecture, where we thought it is important to explicitly put forward some core principles and also expand on the attributes which are expected out of a doctor. Therefore, we thought it was the need of the hour. And let me assure you, this is not to reduce the value of hidden curriculum, which you are going to learn as you negotiate your journeys, but certainly to empower it. So I think a lot of you might be of the opinion is that ethics is something which cannot be taught. You're just able to sense what is right or good, and you're motivated to act, or you're not motivated to act. But what we think over here is that while people differ in their abilities, most people can improve their ethical decision making through education and practice. That's the reason for such kind of a foundation course. Another concept that I want to introduce, and all of you must have faced by now being there in medicine for the last few years. One thing that is very important for all of us to understand is, do we think differently when we are talking of science and when we are talking of ethics? Are you able to find answers in your day-to-day interactions with your patient while taking decisions for them as to what is reasonable and what is fair? And it's very important that the scientific thinking is in congruence with the ethical thinking. And this is a part of the art. So talking about professional ethics, So I'll just be briefing about what is profession, what do you mean by ethics, what is professional ethics, a little bit on ethical theories, and some bit of thinking on professional ethics. So what's a profession? A profession is a person who has a job that needs the skill, education, or training. What you need to understand is all professions are occupations, but all occupations must be professions, because they do not, the occupations may or may not go through a structured training through acquisition of skill. So that is what defines a profession. So it's a group identity. There is some shared requirement for training, education, there are requirements for admission, there is some special uncommon knowledge, and this knowledge is used generally in the service of others. So there is a positive social need. It also gives some degree of individual autonomy. So it involves individual judgment, and there has to be adherence to certain value systems. And of course, you have councils and regulators which do levy penalties if there is a substandard performance. So professionalism, that is what a profession is all about. Professionalism is basically skill. It's competency at work. It has a relational element, that is this competence or skill that you have, whether it is going to be beneficial to others or not. Another abstract concept, work itself does not have a moral status, but the way you execute the work, that is what has a moral status. Coming back to professionalism again, basically it's the attribute, behavior, commitment, values, and goals that characterize a profession. And in medicine, particularly in medicine, there is a very strong societal role and an emotional component involved. For medical profession, professionalism is basically a contract between medicine and society. For many of you, it remains vague because it bridges two unconnected quantities. On one hand, we're talking about evidence-based science, and on the other hand, you have patients who have emotional, psychological needs. How to bridge the two? That is what professionalism is all about. Coming back to attributes of professionalism, there is a degree of responsibility. There is a need for being competent, and for being competent, there is a constant need for self-improvement. You have a lifelong learning process. You need to respect others as well as professional relationship. There is a social responsibility. You need to be honest. You have to take care of your health first. Then only you'll be able to take care of others. There will be a number of times where you have to be able to function under stress. Appearance is very important. You have to be properly dressed. Tolerance. If people are not listening to you, not following your orders, you have to be tolerant enough and be able to negotiate your way around. Dependability is a very important attribute. People trust you, depend upon you. And of course, research ethics is a different thing that will be covered in the latter lectures. Ultimately, professionalism is all about understanding and knowing how to relate with people. So can we teach professionalism? Do these lectures, will help you know about professionalism? The best ways this can be taught is by role modeling. You have a role model, the way the person would function when he or she comes in contact with a patient. So that's what a role model is. Bedside teaching rounds are a very important method of picking up this subtle skill of professionalism. You have simulated patients. I had an opportunity to go abroad And there they had these patient actors who would act on a difficult situation. And then as a doctor, you were asked to interact with that patient. And there was a mentor who would guide you as to what are the problems with your interactions. So that is how they would teach these abstract, aspects of professionalism, group discussions. It's very important to understand, I mean, all this is very ideal, but ultimately, a lot of it you are going to learn from real. That is your day-to-day clinical practice and day-to-day interaction with patients, and as you see your mentors interacting with your patients. Assessment is an important aspect of professionalism. Peer review, a peer is able to tell you as to what were the flaws when you were interacting, or what was good or not good. Patient feedback and evaluation, or a 360-degree evaluation, these are various methods of assessing your professional skills and help you also improvise these skills. Now, coming about ethics, this is all about professionalism. Watch the language. The actions are right or wrong, and when you talk about good and bad, these are goals or methods or motives. So ethics can be broadly defined as a set of moral principles or values, and each one of us have such a set of values. We may or may not have considered them explicitly, but all of us have our own value systems. Ethics comes from the Greek word ethos. That is a place of internal dwelling. That is what ethics is. And this is based on your value systems. And these values you acquire from your environment, religion, education, a lot of other things. Why do we need ethics? Ethical behavior is necessary for society to function in an orderly manner. And the need of ethics is so very important that a lot of ethical principles have to be incorporated as laws. So what about professional ethics? So professional ethics is basically something which helps the professional decide whenever you are faced with a problem that raises a moral issue. The problem is that it can be complex. There can be multiple people involved. There can be many issues when you're taking a decision for a patient and you are faced with an ethical dilemma, or it might be not necessarily related to that particular person. There might be multiple people who might be involved in the decision making of that particular patient. There might be multiple issues that are involved, and who decides whether it is an issue at all, and as to not just what is decided. So it's complex. And a very important thing about professional ethics is it is something which is implied in practice. It is not necessarily always visible. It's visible, not necessarily visible, and it is never spoken. So it's a subtle skill, and it does not build on your knowledge, but generally more on your personal feeling and beliefs. Talking about morality is basically making choices with reasons, and ethics is how the choices are made. That is, ethics is the study of morality. Often, ethics and morality are used interchangeably. Talking about ethics and law, the authority is external. Ethics, I told you, means ethos. The authority is internal. Much of law, but not all of it, is based on morality, and much of ethics. All the ethical principles are not necessarily addressed by law. when we talk about professional ethics and law, there is a moral duty to obey law. But when you talk about professional ethics, it covers issue, I told you, more than that, what law covers. One can be unethical without behaving illegally, but rarely you should be coming across a situation where you resist law. Be very careful not to embark in an exercise in ethical analysis when there is a clear-cut legal rule in the situation that trumps the entire process of ethical analysis. And also be careful that it's not necessary that when you are challenged with an ethical or a professional ethical dilemma, that there is a legal rule for every situation. Often there are gaps between legal rules and one need to switch on to an ethical analysis. So what is this ethical analysis that we are talking about? And this ethical analysis is based on some foundational theories of ethics. And the discipline of philosophy has played a very important role in the development of modern ethical discourse. These theories, basically, they provide us the framework on which your concepts, ethical concepts, or your professional ethical decision making are formulated and discussed. There are two very important theories which are there. One is the non-consequentialist, consequentialist, wherein the action is just classified as right or wrong. You just don't think about the consequences. You are just faced with a situation wherein you just know what is the right thing to do at that particular instant without thinking about the consequences. And the second theory is consequential, wherein you think about as to not as to what is right in that particular situation, but also when you're doing the analysis as to what are the consequences of taking that kind of a decision. Most of us will actually be adopting either of the two, and I mean most of them would be adopting one or the other come across. The third approach of ethics is basically the virtue ethics. Virtue ethics, it considers the action to be right if a virtuous, you have a role model, if you have a supervisor or a mentor whom you consider to be a role model, and you are faced with the situation. You think of that virtuous agent as to how he or she would act in that particular situation, and you would adopt that path. And it's very important to understand that what are these virtues that help us to define a good physician. And some examples of these virtues are benevolence. You have to act in the benefit of the patient, justice, loyalty, friendliness, courage, honesty, and integrity. These are the virtues that you look into your that role model just generally embodies. And when you are faced with an ethical dilemma, you would act based on those virtues. So basically, it's a moral theories. It's a broad perspective which helps us to decide which element of the moral problem is more important. Whether you are, more concerned with the consequences of your action, or whether you are more concerned about what is right as an action at that particular time or not, or what you are more influenced with. Are you more influenced with as to what a virtuous agent would do? And this is how we, in day-to-day practice of medicine, this is how we actually resolve our conflicts. How do we come across these moral theories? Many times family, religion, culture, and a lot of it is based on experience. Your previous experience guides you, reflection, and education. when you're using moral theory, it is important as to what is decided, but it is not what is decided, but how it is decided. And when you use the a person's moral theory basically explains as to why they hold the values that they do. I lead this. One of the moral framework which was used by the tenets of Western medical ethics was oath. You would look to a Hippocratic oath as to what would that oath suggest. And it's important to understand that oaths do not necessarily compel ethical behavior, but they are human instruments that are crafted to sensitize the reader to moral moments and choices. When you come across a moral moment, they basically sensitize you that this is what you took as an oath. But they are not compelling. Coming to professional values and virtues again, what I think two qualities which are very central to the notion of good doctoring and professionalism. If you apply this in routine practice, they would solve a lot of your difficulties. One is being altruism and obligation. So altruism is basically the idea that you are always working in the best interest of others. As a behavior, it connotes an attitude or disposition to act in the benefit of the others. And as a moral principles, it is compulsory. And the other thing that is important is, I spoke about obligation. So when a patient, he entrusts her or his care to the physician, certain ethical obligations are immediately implied. And what is this obligation? That you all should be very careful with. One of these most important obligation is fiduciary duty. That is the relationship of confidence or trust that develops between the patient and the doctor. Fiduciary comes from the Greek word fida, which means faith. So basically, when the patient is coming to you for opinion, he is entrusting faith on you. And this is what actually, separates a medical profession from many other professions. Such duties require the highest standard of care and maintenance, as well as extreme loyalty. The fiduciary responsibility that accompanies the role of a professional is the principal difference between working in an occupation and practicing a profession. So when we talk about professional ethics, it's an essential dimension of our work as physicians. We rely often without knowing it on its principles to formulate judgments and make decisions on behalf of our patients. We need a framework. And the moral theories basically give you a framework upon which to approach the challenges. And this ethics and philosophical foundations, along with our ongoing critical input as a profession, provide us the tools in developing these frameworks. It is very important for us as a profession, as an institution, and for individual professionals. Solving problems, I understand, can be difficult sometimes. Better ethical decision making will come from education and practice. But ultimately, all of you should always ask yourself this question. Our challenge is for our profession and for each one of us individually to critically explore the age-old good question, what does it mean to be a good doctor? And I think you'll get a lot of answers when you keep questioning yourself that. Thank you very much for your attention.
Do you have any questions?
Everybody's quiet. I think it's abstract for them.
No.
They should learn to think in abstract.
Okay, I think I will just switch off and probably Madam can take it further.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Shagun.
Shagun, you can, if they have any questions, can you take up? So any student has any questions? Anybody has any questions?
Everybody is a third professional.
Looks like. So that's why I say that if they don't ask questions, then it's like a monologue. So have you come, in your institution from where you came, you've come from all parts of India. You must be asking questions.
I mean, have you read about these ethical theories in the past, or have you been applying it in your practice? A lot of you must have done post-graduation by now. You must be interacting with patients.
ये 5 बजे जाएगी ना, तो उसको सीसीएम वाले को फोन कर लेना 5 बजे हम पेशेंट को भेज रहे हैं.
I think ma'am will carry on with the next session.
Please mute yourself, Dr. Rana Pratap. Please
mute yourself. उधर ईवी रखा होगा उसके पास. बाइट है अभी और लगवा लो, तो साथ ही जो भी रहेंगे होंगे और लगवा लो उसको ईवी डालना.
Mute yourself.
Ma'am?
Dr. Preeti, you have any question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I didn't understand the two moral theories that the ma'am taught, Kantianism, and the second one is utilitarianism.
Shagun, you want to take that question?
I have not been, I was unable to understand it clearly. Can you please repeat it?
Can you type it in the chat box or you can repeat it?
Ma'am, the two moral theories you proposed, ma'am, it wasn't clear to me.
So one is the consequentialist, wherein you, whenever you are faced with ethical dilemma in your practice, you think about the consequences of your action, right? And based on whether the consequences are going to be good or not, you take a decision, right? And the second is basically the non-consequentialist, wherein you perform the action based on what is right. For example, let me talk about a cancer patient. There is an advanced cancer patient that comes to me in the clinic, and he's coming off from a very far off place. And we know that giving chemotherapy is not going to cure the patient. That is what we are aware. And I seriously, because he's coming from a far off, worried that if we give him too intense a chemotherapy regimen, there might be side effects of those treatment for which he might not be able to access care. So I'm thinking of the consequences of treatment, right? That if I give this person chemotherapy, and if this person develops side effects of chemotherapy, he might not be able to access care, and thereby it might harm the patient. That's a consequentialist. But ideally, in that situation, I should just be giving chemotherapy. The right thing is to just give the drug. Did you get it?
Yes.
That is a non-consequentialist. What is right or wrong?
Okay, okay.
And the other thing is based on the consequences, you take a decision. I mean, so many times in your clinic, you come across such a situation where you have to modulate your decisions based on what your thinking of consequences are.
Very poor, and patient may need an expensive therapy, but you don't want to ruin his family, no? You don't want him to sell all his land and become homeless. So you have to make a judgment what a patient can afford. so that he can look after his family as well as get his treatment. So all these decisions are made every day. So look, I mean, what Dr. Shagun is telling you, that it's an art of medicine. There is science of medicine and there is art
There's
of
an
medicine.
art, yeah.
So that is where we have to, well, we can't be totally judgmental, but we can always make a fair guess, discuss with the patient, explain to him in compassionate way. The most important is compassion. The patient should feel that you are like one of his family member. That is where, when you get that connect, that is where professionalism comes. We need to be absolutely in tune with the patient. There is no point in ordering too many investigations,
Yeah.
giving fancy drugs, giving unnecessary drugs. You have to put yourself in the patient's position and feel that if I was a patient, how would I like to be treated? That's what I feel is the best test. Anything which you do for your patient, just put yourself in that position and think that if I would do it, how I would feel.
Very rightly said by Madam. I mean, patients' values and preferences, please do take them also into account when you are taking a decision for them. So that is going to convert your right treatment into good treatment. And then you can apply your theories, whichever theory you want.
Actually, most of it is common sense.
Yeah.
Most morality, ethics is all just common sense applied correctly. If you have any questions, any more questions, your own experiences, where you were in dilemma. I mean, the same is situation in research. Absolutely similar in research. You have to be absolutely truthful. There is no art. It's all science. So there it is truth, 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 and nothing else. So we have, actually Dr. Rohit was supposed to speak on ethics of research, but unfortunately he's been called for some meeting and we were trying to play his video, which as you people said is not very audible. So one option is that we can continue with our introductions. If you are keen on them, it's always good to know friends, because we all need cross consultations. And if you know the face, you know the person, it's much easier to get it done. And it also becomes like a family. If you're not interested, then we can call it a day and we will reassemble tomorrow. And I'm still getting some mails in the chat box that somebody has not received the links. But we have sent links to everybody. And if any one of your friend has not received or something, we have tried to correct all emails on Sunday, calling people, trying to do even till 3 p.m. today. So if anyone is left from any department, you can still email us and we can include that person. But I would say take these things seriously. Apportion these 2 hours for the course. They may look very mundane at this time, but when you will apply, you will find these words of wisdom are very, very useful in day-to-day practice. So what do you want? Do you want us to continue with the introductions, or it's basically your show, not ours? Now, you normally have the director come and address you people, but because we are having faculty interviews going on, so he is unable to come. Most likely he will address you on Thursday after those interviews are over, to tell you about what this institution is all about. So what do you people want? You have to tell us. Since there is a pin drop silence, it looks that you people want to leave. So, Piti, you want to have any attendance? No. Okay. Okay then. Thanks a lot for joining, and please tomorrow Tomorrow we have a packed house, as you must have seen in the program. We have 4 talks of half an hour each of them very relevant. So please join on time and be there and be participative, because no teaching is good enough unless it's a dialogue. If it's a monologue, it gets very boring, both for the teacher and the student. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
मेन स्किन कहाँ से आते हैं? मेन स्किन कौन सी?
एक मिनट मैं सबको लाइए वो सब मैं लीव कर देगी